right. Hello. Welcome back. JV2 chat. This is the JV2 chat. We're going to talk about the week, the weekly games, anything that happened during the week, and just go overall with that. Usually we start on Tuesdays as I post the videos, usually Mondays or Tuesdays, but I like to start on Tuesdays and then go through what happened Mondays. So last video we ended on Monday the 23rd. This video we're gonna start Tuesday the 24th, which again, games on games, and a lot of stuff's happened. More just focusing on the actual games that happened during the week. On my TikTok or Instagram, I will be doing videos about anything else that happened, managers getting sacked, teams getting points deducted, stuff like that. If you'd like to check any of those out, you can just check in the description. I'll leave the actual what's it called, the @ for my either of those. Again, it would just be at JV2 chat, but I'll spell it out down there. I appreciate anybody that's been watching the videos. Again, I just like to do this because it's cool. I just like talking about soccer. Getting my opinions out there is nice. And if anybody would like to check any more socials, greatly appreciated. If you stick through the whole video, I appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully we can just keep it going, keep growing, and we'll just start. First game that I'm seeing is Bayern Munich facing against FC Köln, which stale, very stale. Bayern Munich, I think, had won their last game, but dropped big points here as Köln are sitting 12th. I say still, but there was obviously the first goal came in the 4th minute. Köln scored it, and Elias Skihiri, I think, is the one that scored it. He scored in the 4th minute. Bayern could not get anything going. It went past the half, and it went all the way till the 90th minute, where Joshua Kimmich scored an absolute screamer. And it was assisted by Dayot Pamecano, obviously the long shot, and it just had to be done. It happened. They had to rely on him, and probably just during that whole thing, they just had to rely on that to help them score the goal. Obviously, I know that they were the team that attacked the most, as very clearly stated here. Köln probably just scored the goal and sat back, but we know that Bayern is a team that just likes to counterattack, that just likes to go at you full pace, full speed the whole time. But they're also technical about it. They're very, very technical about it, and they're very good. On this match, they just didn't show it in terms of getting the goals needed in the back of the net. 78 possession for them, 22 for the other team. 25 shots, 7 on target. The keeper for the other side was definitely called upon, but it didn't do anything at the end of the day. And I mean, obviously we know that they have people that can score. Choupo-Moting, Gnabry, Musiala, Sane, but it didn't show up for them, and it ended up having to come from Kimmich, who, if I'm not mistaken, was the captain for this game. And I mean, not a lot can be said. They dropped points, which is good for the other teams right under them because they're performing good. But obviously for Köln, it's just a dream. But that ended up happening, and it was nice. It was nice for them to win it. We move on. We have Lazio Milan. Oh my goodness. Game ended 4-0. Milan did not even show up to give up a fight. Dropped all the way to 5th because of this loss, and Lazio climbed to 3rd. Very, very big win for them, who a lot of people might have not expected it, me myself included. I know Milan's not been the best in terms of recent weeks, but it's just crazy. Milan had more possession, but just 51%. As well, 10 shots, 3 on target, compared to Lazio's 10 shots, 5 on target. Lazio just almost put everything in the back of the net. Milan didn't sniff the chances. However, the goalkeeper was definitely called upon. Who, not even a known goalkeeper, Provedel, I've not heard of him on the team. And yeah, Lazio just got the job done. 4th minute, Milinkovic-Savic ended up scoring the goal. Matias Aguini then ended up scoring a goal in the 38th. Went over that. 67, Luis Alberto scored a penalty, and Felipe Anderson scored in the 75th, ending the game, leaving them for dead. Criticisms to be said about this team. I saw a lot of people talk bad about Dest. Very, very bad about Dest. Kalulu as well. And I know that their goalkeeper is injured. Magnan. So Tataruzano was the one that has to come in, and when you talk about relying on a man, you can't really rely on him. Again, not knowing if it was his fault or not, but the team just was not up to par, and you can just tell by the scoreline. Not even identifying everything else, you can just tell by the scoreline. That just ended up happening. EFL Cup, we had a game, Newcastle Southampton, which is interesting, as Newcastle was the one that came victorious, but they did suffer through them, and they did have to get the goal in the 73rd minute by Joe Ellington scoring a goal and Alexander Isak assisting it. There was a goal in the 75th minute that was disallowed for Southampton. Don't know if it was like something worth or anything like that. However, Duque Caleta Carr did end up getting a red card in the 86th minute. I didn't watch this game, so I'm not sure why, but I did see a clip, however, of, who was it? There was one of these players that came in. Jacob Murphy was waving goodbye to Duque Caleta Carr on his way out. Again, Newcastle, very, very organized team, very compact. They just know what to do, especially in tight matches like these. And they got the job done, ultimately. I know Southampton had ended up beating City, but in the end, it just didn't. I don't want to say matter. It did matter for them to go through, but Newcastle just got the win. Again, I'm not completely sure if it was in an easy form, but it just happened. Orsic started this game, and so did Alcaraz, but Southampton just did not get a result against them. Newcastle are obviously doing amazing. This is good for them, as they can just keep looking to add a trophy to that cabinet, and obviously just very excited to see what they do. Continuing on the competition, continuing on the league, and so on. Again, we did have more Bundesliga matches. Eredivisie, MN won against PSV. PSV losing and dropping points. Sparta against Waldwisch, 0-0. Another FA Cup game. Accrington winning 1-0 against Bornham Wood. And then the Bundesliga matches, which we saw. Hoffenheim 2, Stuttgart 2. Interesting game, obviously. Kramage getting the goal in the 11th minute, assisted by Angelino. And Sehru Gurasi scoring in the 50th minute for Stuttgart. And then Wataru Endo scoring in the 77th minute. And then there was a red card shown, and 5 minutes apart from the guy who got the yellow card and then the red, Naohiro Hamada getting the red, which could have contributed to the goal that Hoffenheim scored, as it was Kramaric who got a goal again in the 94th minute, assisted again by Angelino, and ultimately just gives them that point in a game that it didn't look likely they were going to get it. Again, Stuttgart actually was on their butt the whole time. More shots, less possession, counter-attacking, and 15 shots, 6 on target. So, but the other one more effective, as they had 8 shots, 4 on target. So the 2 that they did score was just good enough for them to get it past Baumann. Stuttgart is a good team. They have good players. Angelino being one of them. Scott being another. Rudy, Baumgartner, Bebu, Kramaric, Baumann. I mean, good. Obviously, below the mid-table, so they were both hoping to get a point to separate them from that bottom spot. Hoffenheim sitting in 19 after the win, and Stuttgart sitting in 16. So very important game, as either of them could have gone to that 19, but it ended up just being Stuttgart the ones to win it. The next game that we have was, which one was it? It was, sorry, one sec. I think Leipzig was the one that played. Yeah, Leipzig Schalke, which Leipzig won 6-1. Very good win for Leipzig, as they still just in that race, in that competition, and got them on third, 35 points, sitting clear, and they just made a statement win. It's weird because I talked about it the last video. Whenever you talk about these big wins, because obviously some people can get overconfident in their ability. It does depend on the opponent, but bigger margins are always good. It does serve for confidence, but not too overconfident. Um, but Leipzig are a good team, and they're just keeping the form that they have, and they just showed it here. Andre Silva scoring a goal in the 7th minute, and then Benjamin Hendricks scoring a goal in the 15th, assisted by Dani Olmo. Andre Silva getting another goal in the 44th minute, and then Timo Werner getting a goal in the 47th, assisted by Dani Olmo again. Those were all before the halftime. Once the halftime came, a lot of substitutions on the 56th goal. That's when Schalke scored theirs, because they did made like 3 or 4 subs. Soichiro Kosuki was the one that scored it. And then towards the end is whenever Leipzig just started capitalizing and getting their goals and just shutting the game down like it was shut already. Dani Olmo getting a goal in the 83rd, and then Joseph Poulsen getting a goal in the 89th, assisted by Kevin Campbell. Again, statement win, yes, and we just moved from that. The other one was, again, Wolfsburg delivering big as they beat Hertha 5-0. And again, a lot of these games are just dependent on the opponent, but I know they've done it quite a couple times. And again, this is good for Wolfsburg. They could get Europe, and they're sitting 7th right now. Very good. They obviously have a very good team, or very organized. Some of their players are known. Arnold, Lacroix, Baku, their back line, Van de Veen, Bornau, Castillo, solid. Very, very solid. Hence why they didn't concede a goal. But they also have that threat up top. Matthias Vanger scoring a goal in the 4th minute, assisted by Patrick Wimmer. Maximilian Arnold scoring in the 31st, a penalty. Jonas Wind in the 34th, assisted by Svanberg. And then a lot of substitutions taking in place. Rido Baku getting his goal in the 72nd minute, and Omar Marmoush getting his goal in the 86th minute. Very, very one-sided. 17 shots, 7 on target for Wolfsburg. The keeper was definitely called upon for Hertha, who I'm not sure who they have. Christensen. I'm pretty sure that what is it called? Denmark backup goalkeeper, but it just did not happen. And Wolfsburg just won big. As for Tuesday, I'm pretty sure that's all the matches that I have to cover. Moving into Wednesday now, which we get the first taste of the Copa del Rey action. Which I did want to talk about the draws. Obviously the other draws now. The past draws. But I guess now later in the video we can talk about the other ones. Which we did get Barcelona Real Sociedad, which was going to be a very, very interesting and intense game. Two very good teams, very driven for success. Obviously, Barcelona, as in we, more driven for that success, because we need these trophies, we need these wins, and we ended up getting the win. But it was not an easy game, and we didn't perform to our best or to our full ability. What helped with us getting that goal was the send-off that they had. And Brais Mendes completely obliterating Sergio Busquets' leg and just studs in. So, not a lot to say about the red card, I want to believe. As it's just dangerous play and protecting the player. Substitutions had to come in after that. And in the 52nd minute, or after that half, we just started pressing and pushing and pushing. Ousmane Dembele had a very, very good game. And he slotted in a really hard shot, a really, really good shot. And just scored. 52nd minute, assisted by Jules Koundé, which was good. And ultimately, that is what ended up getting us the decider. There was a lot of things to say about the game. Obviously, Xavi playing the typical four-man midfield again. Our back line looking very, very solid. And right now we're just lacking on the goals. Lego's been very quiet. And obviously with having that four-man midfield, there's not a lot moving forward. We trust in Dembele and Lewandowski to get the goals. Pedri's the one that's been getting them the most. But it's a system that is working with us playing well, as in good, nice, very nice football. Ultimately, we just get the win, which is nice, because obviously we just strive for that wins, for those successes, and it just ended up happening like that. The next game was Osasuna Sevilla, which a lot of people did have Osasuna winning this game, and to the very surprised, they did win it. Not an easy game to begin with. Game ended 2-1. Osasuna winning it, of course. Ezequiel Avila getting the goal in the 71st minute, assisted by Ruben Garcia. After that, obviously, through the whole game, there was just substitutions. What ended up obviously being a factor as well was that Bono got injured, and Mitrovic has to come in. As Lausi, one of our players, coming in the 69th, which again, he had a very, very good game. Influential, and Nosiri coming in the 77th for them, who ended up scoring the goal in the 94th in extra time. And just, that is what caused it to go further into it, which then we did get the goal by Eslausi in the 99th, assisted by Moncoyola, which again, Slausi did very, very good to get past his man and just get the goal needed. Osasuna are a very, very exciting team. They've been doing really good this season, and it's just good to see that they're getting results needed to be able to take advantage of teams like Sevilla who are not doing so good. So very happy for Osasuna. Again, I did see the draws that happened, so we will see that in another video towards the end. But that game ended up just happening like that. Sevilla, I mean, not a lot of things can be said apart from what I've already said. They're very underachieving this season. It's just unbelievable how down bad they are, like down there. And again, losing in a cup, which could just get you more recognition potential, is bad. They can just focus on the league now. This result for them is just not good enough. But it just ended up happening like that. Borussia Dortmund against Mainz, which Dortmund won. Dortmund needs those games to win, taking advantages of those draws that Bayern Munich is having. But then again, they do have to still deal with the teams above them. But they got the win, very, very good win. It didn't end 2-1, but Borussia Dortmund got the win. Lee Jae-sung scoring the goal for Mainz in the 2nd minute. And then Julian Ryson, who I'm pretty sure is the new right back that they got the goal in the 4th minute, assisted by Nicolas Sule. And towards the end, Giovanni Reina scoring an absolute screamer to get them the goal needed in the 93rd minute, assisted by Sebastian Haller. Which again is very good to see Haller be able to play. Obviously he has to start small, but then hopefully he can come back and play a lot. But it just ended up happening like that, and they got the goal, they got the win needed, and just looked solid, like a different team apart from the other games that they've been having. Moving on, not a lot of here's the games. Bundesliga matches. Augsburg winning 1-0 against Mönchengladbach. Goal disallowed in the 36th for Augsburg, and then Mergim Berisha getting the goal in the 82nd minute, which just put Gladbach. They're still sitting 8th, but then Augsburg are now 14. Intense matches. Augsburg had a lot more shots and whatnot. Union Berlin against Werder Bremen winning 2-1. But Werder Bremen scoring first in the 13th minute, Amos Piper, and then Union Berlin getting the goals getting the tying goal quick after Jenny Caberer, and then Kevin Burch scoring the goal in the 46th, assisted by Josip Juranovic. Which Juranovic was one of the players that came in, obviously very exciting from the World Cup, and just I think he's a very I said that Union Berlin needed a right back, but I think this is a very good transfer for them and for him. Again, Union Berlin obviously sitting in second and doing very, very good. And again, just exciting to see those type of players making these moves, and hopefully we can just see something special with them and Bayern Munich. SC Freiburg against Frankfurt ending 1-1, which in the 42nd minute, Colomuani scored the goal, and in the 47th, Matthias Ginter getting the tying goal, assisted by Gunther. Again, both of these teams have exciting players, and this was a very important game. It put Freiburg on top, as they are now sitting 5th, and Frankfurt are sitting 6th. Which again, Freiburg had most of the chances, they just couldn't put it back. Sitting and counter-attacking, 13 shots, 5 on target, but it just didn't find the back of the net for them. But again, very important games like that are always nice to watch. And moving on, we move on to Leverkusen against VfL Bochum, which we saw Leverkusen come back and just get a win. Tapsova scoring a penalty in the 8th minute. I don't know if he's the penalty taker for them. I know Slobosa is actually very good at set pieces or whatnot, so I would have imagined that would have been him. But Tapsova was the one that took it and he scored it. And then Josek scoring the goal in the 53rd, assisted by Florian Wirtz, who I was not sure that Wirtz came back, but he did. Good win, important win. They kept most of the possession. They had shots on target, same amount of shots on target, but they had more shots on target, same shots. Sorry, I got that confused. Obviously, Heraldiki was just called upon once, but made the work off of it. They got the clean sheet as well. Just seems to be like a good game for them, which is good. Just seems to be like a good game for them, and hopefully we can just see them thrive again and rise to the top, as I know Xabi Alonso has them playing good. Hopefully better now, but that's what happened with them. Vitesse, Eredivisie League, Vitesse 22-2. Utrecht Excelsior 1-2 Utrecht. Feyenoord NEC, Feyenoord winning 2-0. AZ winning 4-1 against Go Ahead Eagles, and then Fortuna winning 2-0 against Heerenveen. Another game that we saw was the friendly U.S. had against Serbia, which the U.S. lost to Serbia. Brandon Vasquez, I did see that he got called up and got the goal, which obviously was good, but again, that's all that people were talking about, just him getting the goal. I know it's a friendly or whatever. Serbia obviously doing the most and getting an important win. Luka Ilic, who again is a very, very good youngster, good transfer that he got away from Hellas Verona. I think that's who he is actually. But yeah, did good and played amazing. They played well. They got the win that they needed against the U.S. that didn't have obviously their top guns, top players, but Veljko Simic getting the win for them. International teams obviously exciting to watch sometimes. I know that preferring club football, not including the World Cup, but sometimes that's how it is for the breaks and whatnot. And the last game that I want to talk about this day, obviously being Manchester United, Nottingham Forest. Manchester United getting the win 3-0, which we saw again Marcus Rashford do what he does, and Casemiro be an absolute rock and just the total progressor passer of that midfield, which he got the assist for Marcus Rashford's goal. And again, Marcus Rashford continuing his amazing run of form. Casemiro just continuing to solidify his name now into the Premier League and into this Manchester United team. Nottingham Forest getting a goal disallowed on the 23rd, and then Wout Weghorst scoring his first goal in the 45th minute for Manchester United, which then substitutions on substitutions, and we saw Bruno Fernandes score his goal in the 89th, assisted by Anthony Elanga, who actually got subbed in on the 85th and assisted the goal on the 89th minute. So very good. Obviously, very, very one-sided. And Manchester United just get the job done, get an easy win, and just now have to face off against Newcastle, I want to believe, which I do think is the final. I am not sure. Correct me on that if I'm wrong. On Thursday, the 26th, which we have Copa del Rey matches, obviously exciting and good, where we see Athletic Club triumphed against Valencia 3-1, where we saw Iker Munian get the first goal in the 35th minute, assisted by Iñaki Williams. Iñaki Williams, amazing, always plays, and he's just always fun to watch. Getting the goal for his captain, and in the 43rd minute, we saw the goal for Valencia, which ended up being an own goal for Oscar de Marcos in the 43rd minute. Shortly after, though, Athletic Club respond and get a goal in the 45th minute. The brother assisting the brother. Nico Williams getting a goal assisted by Iñaki Williams. I like that. I really like that dynamic duo that they have. Obviously, Iñaki being the older brother, knowing what to do, and Nico Williams being that exciting young talent and just very, very much thriving under the system, especially with your brother playing. I can imagine how that can have an influence. But it was just good. A lot of changes made for Valencia, but it didn't end up doing anything, as in the 74th minute, Mikel Vesga scoring the last goal, which just gave them the win, and then that is when Athletic Club just decided to call it and make their substitutions. That just puts Athletic through, and it's good, because I like the team. I really do like them, and hopefully we can see them do more business, and we'll just see what happens with them. And moving on to the second Copa del Rey match, which was Atletico Madrid against Real Madrid. Which, again, what can even be said about this game? This game was just crazy to watch on end. Alvaro Morata getting his goal in the 19th minute, assisted by Nahuel Molina. Very good goal, very good assist. Obviously, we know how Atletico Madrid play. They absolutely parked the bus after this goal, and we're just waiting and waiting. A lot of yellow cards show us this is a Madrid derby. Don't get it mistaken. These types of games do get very, very physical. And it was just amazing. Dani Ceballos coming in for Ferland Mendy in the 44th minute, which I think moved Camavinga to the left back spot. But again, just good game overall in terms of that, and in terms of the physical aspect and the paralysis and just what you can tell from the actual game itself. Rodrigo getting an amazing goal in the 79th minute, dribbling past most of them players and just scoring a very, very nice and important goal. Obviously, they're making more substitutions, but making substitutions moreover for the running that the players made instead of the threat that they had. I do know Memphis and Yannick Carrasco coming in the 74th minute, but they just could not do anything. And during this, or at least the extra time, being the extra 30 minutes, Stefan Savic getting riled up and getting a yellow card in the 97th minute, getting the red card in the 99th. Unprofessional. I just lost their cool. Yes, we do know it's Atletico Madrid derby, but you have to understand what it means. And some of the center backs, as well as the players for this Atletico Madrid side, are just heated and just get absolute heated. We did see that he got the red card against Ferran Torres whenever we played Atletico Madrid, but completely unnecessary. And then we just saw Karim Benzema score a goal in the 103rd minute, assisted by Vinicius Jr. And finish it all off, Vinicius Jr. got his goal in the 121st, assisted by Dani Ceballos. Atletico Madrid just lost their cool. And Real Madrid took advantage of that in a game that they were very clearly losing until the 80th almost, and just completely obliterated them with the amount of pressure that they applied. There's a lot of things that can be said about it. Obviously, Atletico Madrid just showed up, but after they showed up, they just didn't want to come back out. And it just ended up happening like that. Exciting to see Real Madrid go through, Atletico Madrid going out in a very, very poor form, in my opinion. After that, we do see Ajax drop points against Volendam in the Eredivisie, and we also did see Al Ittihad win 3-1 against Al Nassr, which is now Cristiano Ronaldo's team. A lot of people are gonna say what they're gonna say. Oh, Ronaldo losing big important games like this and whatever. And it was in the Saudi Super Cup, which is just gonna be like, oh, whatever. But it just ended up happening, whatever. And yeah, I guess it just happens. As well in the Saudi Super Cup, Al Fayha winning 1-0 against Al Hilal, which I don't even know if it matters. The only thing that I care about, or at least caring about is here, is because of Ronaldo, but it didn't end up happening there. Cambur in the Eredivisie winning 1-0 against Groningen. And then in the Liga MX, we see Atlas tying 2-2 against Santos Laguna. Again, I didn't have a chance to watch this game. However, we can see how the table unfolds. The Santos are sitting in 4th and Atlas in 8th. Obviously, it should have been a better game for Santos Laguna, but it was not. They didn't get the result that they wanted. Atlas, however, did get a point out of the game, and it was just crazy because apparently Santos 73 possession, Atlas 27. Santos 14 shots, 5 on target, while Atlas had 11 and 2 on target. Both of Atlas goals or shots on target being converted into goals. Or wait, actually it was the other way around. Oh wow, okay, so Santos got very, very lucky on it. Okay, and they're sitting higher. Games like that always happens, but I mean Atlas did good, but just didn't do everything, as they lacked on that last goal to get them through. As far as things go, that is it for Thursday, and now we can move to Friday. Which Friday we see Almeria against Espanyol, which Almeria won 3-1. And Almeria doing very, very good this season. And obviously I know Espanyol not doing up to par and not doing the best or whatnot, but stuff happens, I guess. And them being our rivals, I'm obviously not going to be talking down on them, but stuff just happens sometimes. And we see Luis Suarez score a goal in the 21st minute for Almeria, and then Leo Baptistao scoring a goal in the 61st minute. Francisco Portillo getting a goal in the 77, assisted by Gonzalo Melero, and then Joselu getting the consolation goal in the 93rd for Espanyol. And the next game that we had for Friday being Manchester City against Arsenal, the long-awaited game. However, it wasn't on the league, and a lot of people would have preferred that it was on the league first, because then they could have one-upped each other in the FA Cup. However, that was not the case for this one, as they ended up playing in the FA Cup. And obviously, we were just treated to an absolute spectacle. This game was very, very nice to watch. Every year is technical like that, and just like to see what unfolds and what happens. Arsenal, obviously doing their rotations, not really interested, but still put up their fight. They still put up their fight. And obviously we know City have the amazing versatileness and just wanted to make a statement with just making that Ortega substitution for Ederson. Very, very intense game, which we just saw Jack Grealish dribble it up on the side and just pass it to Nathan Ake, which is surprising that Arsenal left that big of a gap for him to just be able to shoot it like that, to which he just bended it towards the post, and it just ended up being the goal. This was just a very good game to watch. I don't know how else to describe it. And again, Hopefully, whenever they play again, it can be more interesting. It's gonna have more meaning than what this does, because obviously it is gonna be in the Premier League. I know that the FA Cup is a title, however, Premier League matters more for Arsenal. I want to believe, and Manchester City just have to shush the haters. So we will see how that one goes. But those were the games. For I'm pretty sure that's the only round of the FA Cup. Yeah, that was the round of the FA Cup. Which then we move on to Bologna, 2-0 against Spezia, which we saw Stefan Poch, the center back, get another goal in the 37th minute, and then Riccardo Orsolini scored a goal, scoring in the 77th, which Spezia are just in the mud, sitting 17th, and Bologna just get an important win, which puts them in the top half of the Serie A table, and good to watch, good to see them doing good. And then we see Salertina Lecce, which again, very important game as they are both sitting down below the table. And we see Salertina actually win this game 2-1 and just beat Lecce pretty much and just overtake them on the table as well, as Salertina sitting 14, Lecce sitting 15 after this result, which we saw Lecce have more possession, but Salertina be more effective, as Salertina had 39 possession, 10 shots, 6 on target, again more efficient, and Lecce have 61 possession, 15 shots, 5 on target. Keeper definitely called upon for them, which who other than Memo Ochoa, Boulaya Dia getting the goal in the 5th minute, and Tony Vilhela getting a goal in the 20th, assisted by Gabriel Trefada for Lecce. He's the one that got the goal. For the Serie A games, that was it for Friday. Yes, that was it for Friday. We do have some other games, and those being in the rest of the games this Friday being one in the Bundesliga, which we saw Leipzig against Stuttgart. Leipzig obviously getting that big win and Stuttgart getting the tie. Leipzig winning this game 2-1, which we saw Dominik Szoboszlai in the 25th minute scoring a goal, and then getting his second goal in the 49th minute, assisted by Andres Silva, and Stuttgart getting their goal in the 68th, Chris Funrich getting his penalty goal. And wow, weird formation. Okay, I'm not. Oh wait, never mind. 4-2-2. That's the formation that RB Leipzig played, and just good. They did good. Obviously I know Konrad Leimer left them, so they did have to get that replacement in Schlager, but they look good, and a lot of things can be said and praised. I do want to talk about Szoboszlai, as I do think he is a very, very good and underrated footballer. Obviously, we know set piece specialist to the point. I still remember one of those goals that he scored where he was like 45 yards out or something like that, and he just sent it, and it was just flying like that into the net, and he ended up scoring the goal. Beautiful. I think he's a very good footballer, obviously very team positive. He connects and makes those passes with everybody, and he's just good. And he ended up getting the win in a good manner, and they just got the win, and this put them still just into the third, and Stuttgart into 15, which they just keep their place and they just move. So yeah, that's what happened with that game. Pretty straightforward. And then moving on to Ligue 1, which we saw Lorient win 2-1 against Reims. Again, Lorient doing very good this season, and they have some exciting players that they can count upon and rely. Enzo Lefebvre being one of them, who got the assist in 13 minutes, scored by Monsali Talbi, and Theo Lebris scoring the goal in the 31st, assisted by Julian Ponciao, which we then saw a lot of substitutions and favored them, Reims, as in Flavien Tait got the goal in the 72nd minute, but it still just wasn't enough for, as Lorient just got the win, which a lot of people just predicted Reims would win this game. Lorient moving closer to Reims, as they are in 6th and Reims in 5th, just 2 points apart. Rons had a lot of chances, but they just could not convert. 67 possession, 19 shots, 6 on target. The goalkeeper for Lorient being called upon, but the four shots they had on target counted extremely for Lorient, as they were just effective with it. Very nice to watch, and just good to see that they took advantage of that. The two last games for these being Liga MX Clausura, Puma 0, Tijuana 0, which Monterrey scored 2 and Puebla 1, which we just see them, Monterrey obviously staying in second. Big help from this win, a lot of shots, 16-19. However, 8 shots on target by Puebla, who still just ended up losing to Monterrey. So Monterrey just being more efficient with their 3 shots on target, getting 2 of them in the back of the net. And as far as matches go, that is all we have for Friday. We move on to Saturday 28th, which, again, matches galore. We see Barcelona against Girona. Barcelona, again, in my opinion, just got very, very lucky in this game. We did see the unfortunate Ousmane Dembele go off with an injury. I think I did see that he's going to be out for 6 weeks, which is unfortunate because he's going to miss a lot of crucial and important games. And I know that Lewandowski's going to be back after this, so we can at least hope for that. But Pedri obviously getting the goal in the 61st, assisted by Jordi Alba, which again, he was just there to slot it in, and it just worked nicely. But this was not a way for us to win. We ended up getting the win. Girona were just scary to face, and they always have been. For us, that's just standard, but it just ended up happening like that. Happy that we got the win, as we moved into still just being first of La Liga and just moving to see what happens. Cadiz winning 2-0 against Mallorca, which this one's actually surprising, as Cadiz are sitting 18th, Mallorca sitting 10th, and Teo Bogonda scored in the 10th minute, assisted by Alvaro Negredo, and Alex scoring in the 38th minute, a penalty being the center mid for Cadiz, and they just get the win. Straightforward like that. And then we saw Sevilla against Elche, which I know Elche are sitting straight 20th. This moved Sevilla very, very far, 13th to be exact. And again, did good, did what they needed to, and got the win. Very, very good win, and scored the 3 goals. Yusuf El Nasiri scoring the goal in the 29th, assisted by Marcos Acuña. Marcos Acuña then getting the goal in the 43rd, which Bigas getting a red card for Elche in the 41st. And then Yusuf El Nasiri scoring his second goal in the 48th, assisted by Suso, which pretty much just ended like that. And we just saw good spectacle from Sevilla. And I don't want to say safe yet, because you never know, but they continue in this form, they're going to be okay from not getting relegated. We saw Real Betis 1, Getafe 0, in which we saw Borja Iglesias convert a penalty on the 86th minute, which obviously is getting closer to deadline day, so I don't think he's going to leave to Atletico Madrid, which is good because he's a very crucial and important part to this team. Getafe sitting in 19 after it, and then Real Betis comfortably in 6th, as we did see Real Betis dominate it with 62 possession, 13 shots, only 2 on target, but getting one of those in the back of the net where it counts. It just happened like that. We saw Inter against Cremonese, which by surprise, whenever I saw the scoreline for this game, I was like, oh, okay. Because Cremonese do the same thing that they did with Napoli. That didn't end up being the case, but as Inter won 2-1, David Okereke scoring in the 11th minute for Cremonese, and then we see Lautaro Martinez in the 21st score a goal, and then score another goal in the 65th, assisted by Edin Dzeko, and just substitutions to fall out the game and call out the game, but we just see Inter win, which is what matters. And yeah, it just ended up happening like that. I know there's obviously a big gap between them and Napoli, Obviously, I'm sitting on second, and Cremonese sitting in 20th. Gave them a bit of a fight as they did score a goal on them, but it just ended up happening. And the next game, we see Bayern Munich against Eintracht Frankfurt, in which Leroy Sané scored the goal in the 34th minute, assisted by Thomas Muller. A lot of yellow cards shown in this game, but then again, Colomwani scoring a decisive goal in the 69th minute, assisted by Kamada, and just ultimately gets them the tie. As there was after that just substitutions made and just a stale match. And wow, okay, 67 possession for Bayern Munich, 33 for Eintracht Frankfurt, 14 shots for Bayern Munich, 8 for Frankfurt, 6 on target for Munich, 1 on target for Frankfurt, which ended up being the Colomwani one, which ended up getting them the point that they needed instead of none. Good for them. They did well, and that's just what happens. At least you can say that Munich is not losing their games, but it's still just crazy to see that such a thing can happen, I guess. But yeah, it just honestly depends sometimes on stuff like that. We move into the FA Cup matches, being Leicester winning 1-0 against Walsall, Leeds winning 3-1 against Accrington, Fulham tying 1-1 against Sunderland, Ipswich tying 0-0 against Burnley, Southampton winning 2-1 against Blackpool, Sheffield tying 1-1 against Fleetwood, Luton tying 2-2 against Grimsby, Blackburn Rovers tying 2-2 against Birmingham City, Bristol City cruising past West Bromwich 3-0, Tottenham passing straight through Preston 3-0, and Manchester United getting the win against Reading in the 3-1 victory. We just see it like that, and it's just good to watch at some points, and it just happened like that. Eredivisie games, PSV winning 2-0 against Go Ahead Eagles, Wolfswich winning 2-0 against Emmen, NEC and Sparta tying 1-1, and then Vitesse getting the 3-1 win against Harveen, which, what was this game? AC against Utrecht, 5-5, okay. I didn't see that, and that was crazy, okay, 5-5. Goal in the 12th minute, goal in the 16th minute for Utrecht, but then answered very, very quickly and in a straightforward form by AC, scoring in the 20th, 31st, and 34th minute, which obviously gave them the lead. By this point, it was already 3-2, but then in the 41st minute, Utrecht scores and just ties the game 3-3. There was a goal disallowed for them in the 56th. Changes were made for AC, and then a goal converted by Utrecht in the 65th, which obviously put them 4-3. But then 2 goals coming from AC, one in the 70th, one in the 78th. And as if things were not done enough, in the 80th minute, Utrecht scores the tying goal, and after that, it just ends like that. Very, very good game. AC sitting second, Utrecht sitting third, 7th, and 30 points. And 15 shots, 24 shots, 9 shots on target for both. Crazy, crazy game. I didn't know this had happened. I didn't. That's probably one of the most surprising matches that I've seen. 5-5, and they were able to tie it, and they were like 5 places below them. That is crazy. We then move on to the next games, which we see Empoli Torino ending 2-2. Empoli scoring in the 37th, Torino scoring not yet. Empoli scoring in the 69th, assisted by Francisco Caputo, Rafa Marin getting the goal. And then just a bunch of changes after that. Still a lot of changes for Torino after the half. And then they ended up getting the goals after all of Empoli's changes. And that being Samuel Ricci scoring the goal. Very good youngster again. And Antonio Sanabria getting the goal in the 85th minute. Assisted by Miranchuk. Again, interesting game to watch, as it was a mid-table clash. And Empoli, the ones downgraded more, as Torino remained in their spot, meaning 27 points to Empoli's 26. And again, just interesting game. Both teams had 4 shots on target. 2 of them counted and 2 of them did not. But very, very good tight game that we see there with them. And then we see Atalanta winning 2-0 against Sampdoria, which again, Joaquim Mahal getting the goal in the 42nd minute, assisted by Hans Hattenbauer, and Ademola Lookman getting the goal in the 57th minute, assisted by Rafael Todoy. Which again, Lookman has been very, very on fire and very, very good for that Atlanta team. I know that sometimes they like to press forward very early on to get that very early goal. They had to wait a little bit to get the goal on this one, but they ended up getting the goal in a good fashion. And wow, okay, very, very separated, as Atlanta sit in 4th, Sampdoria sit in 19th, and there is a 29-point difference between these two teams. However, don't cut it short, as Sampdoria did have 15 shots and 5 on target, so Musso for Atlanta definitely called upon, but it just didn't end up making the difference. Atlanta were able to convert the goals that were needed and put them in the back of the net to get the points that they needed ultimately. We see Marseille tie against Monaco, which I did see was an intense match. And then Troyes tie against Lens, which again, unfortunate for Lens as they are in that title race. They drop points again to a opponent that they shouldn't be dropping points to. I mean, sometimes it just happens, rest players and whatnot, but they ended up dropping the points there, and that's what ended up happening. We see some of the Bundesliga games in which have Werder Bremen winning 2-1 against Wolfsburg, which again, Wolfsburg come up with that crazy win, so we're very, very good for Werder Bremen. And then Gladbach getting the win 4-1 against Hoffenheim. Hoffman getting a goal in the 12th minute and in the 37th. Lars Stindl getting a goal in the 83rd and 91st. And Bebo getting a goal in between in the 88th minute, which just made the 4-1. And Gladbach just winning a good way. Puts them up into 8th and Hoffenheim into 13th. And again, both teams 5 shots on target, but Gladbach making the ones that matter count and getting the points that they need in order to just catch up and hopefully get that Europe spot. Moving on, Hertha Berlin losing 2-0 against Union Berlin. Union Berlin just keep cruising. Dairo Doeki scoring the goal in the 44th minute, assisted by Trimel, and Pau Segun getting a goal in the 67th, assisted by Becker. In which we just see again tight game. Both had 3 shots on target. Obviously, Union Berlin making the ones that count into the back of the net, and again just keeps them second and keeps them moving forward. That was it for that game, and then we move still into the Bundesliga, into Freiburg-Augsburg, which ended 3-1 with Freiburg winning. Gregoritsch getting the goal in the 13th, then Augsburg getting the goal by Berisha in a penalty. Lucas Haller answering, however, quick in the 30th minute, assisted by Doan. And then Lionheart getting the goal in the 85th, assisted by Vincent Grimfo in the 85th minute, which obviously we did know that it was 2-1 already, but Freiburg just ended the game pretty much there, as they made their substitutions and just sit it comfortably, with Grifo getting the assist 3 minutes after coming on. And just good. Freiburg sitting in 5th and Augsburg sitting in 14th, which is obviously Freiburg, we know what they're doing good, but Augsburg obviously just lackluster and just ended up not showing up and allowed just Freiburg to cruise past them and to just look for that Europe spot. And the final game being Mainz against Bochum, which ended 5-2 with Mainz winning. Lee Jae-sung getting a goal in the first minute, with Silva and Wimter getting a goal in the 17th, and then Karim Osimo getting a goal in the 28th, which already saw them 3-0 up. After the half, Karim Onisiwo getting his second goal in the 57th minute, and then that is when Bochum wake up, as they did make a lot of substitutions, but so did Mainz after the half, and then getting the goal in the 70th minute, Pierre Kunde, and then Eran Masomic. But then Onisiwo getting his hat trick in the 87th minute just to seal off the win for Mainz to just get the points that they need and get out of there. The last games of these day being Tigres San Luis tying 0-0, Juarez losing to Chivas 2-1, and then America obliterating Mazatlan 6-0, which we then saw USA Colombia, which ended 0-0 as well. Two exciting teams. We know the US is not bringing in their big guns, but they want to make statements. They should be winning those games, and they ended up losing that. Although I do know Colombia is a tough team to face, but it just didn't happen for them, and that's ultimately what just ended up happening. Last games, obviously, of these being yesterday's, which was Sunday the 29th, and we saw Real Valladolid get their win against Valencia, which obviously good, amazing. They do have good players, and they did bring in the people that needed the goals, with Sile Laring from Canada scoring a goal in the 90th minute, assisted by Darwin Machis, and ultimately it's what got them the win. Real Valladolid played very, very good and just ended up getting the win. 54 possession, 13 shots, 6 on target, compared to their 46, 15 shots, 2 on target. Again, it's crazy because even though Valencia didn't get the points, as they did lose, this just caused the Real Valladolid to catch up, as they're both now sitting on 20 points. Goal difference, Valencia having 4 and Real Valladolid being negative 14th. But not a lot of point difference between 14th and 17th already. But that's how that game ended. We did see on this one as well, Atletico Madrid getting barely past through Osasuna, winning 1-0. And then Celta Vigo beating Athletic Club 1-0 as well, in which we didn't see the feature of Iñaki Williams, who played a tremendous amount of matches in a row that is just probably not going to get replicated. Lago Aspas getting his goal in the 71st and just, again, revived Celta Vigo, which again, 9 and 16, only separated by 6 points. But yeah, no shots on target for Athletic Club. Wow, okay. So Celta Vigo just came in and, okay, shut everything down. But yeah, that is how that match ends, and it just finished like that. Real Madrid against Real Sociedad in 0-0. Which I did see a lot of things about this game. One of the most important ones being that Madrid fans or people that I know saying that this was their best game in terms of like technical ability, what we do with the ball, how we play. We don't just play to win. But their best game, they just couldn't find it in the back of the net. Real Sociedad did what they had to, obviously playing dirty and whatnot, but they end up getting a crucial point against Madrid, and it ends up just solidifying our spot in the top. 5 points clear now, but obviously you can't ever get cocky and just not expect to bite you back, so we just sit with that, and we just enjoy it a little bit while it lasts. But that's what happened. We saw Sassuolo against Milan, in which we saw Sassuolo completely obliterate Milan in a 5-2 game. Goal disallowed in the 8th minute for Milan, but then Gregory De Frel scoring in the 19th minute, assisted by Domenico Berardi. Davide Fratesi getting his goal in the 21st, assisted by Berardi again, who again, Fratesi, very good, very young, exciting player for the future from Italy. And I know that Sassuolo is not doing too hot, but he is a very, very good player to keep your eye on. And then we saw Berardi get his goal in the 30th minute. Yellow cards and changes, but then after the half, Laurent getting his goal in the 47th minute and a penalty. Another goal disallowed for AC Milan in the 55th. Again, a lot of yellow cards and substitutions. But then in the 79th minute, we saw Mateus Enrique score a goal assisted by Domenico Berardi in the 79, which Mateus Enrique came in on the 76. Berardi getting his hat-trick of assist. And then Divock Origi scoring a goal in the 81st minute, assisted by Junior Messias. Now again, Poor from Milan, as they should be on that title race. Very, very beneficial for Sassuolo, as they got them out of the relegation. They're sitting 16th now, and Milan are sitting 5th. Very bad result for Milan. They didn't even compete, and Sassuolo just took advantage of the poor form that they had and just capitalized off of it pretty much, getting them the win. Serie A had a lot of good games this day, which we again saw Monza playing, and they played against Juventus. They won against Juventus. Monza winning against Juventus with a point deduction, obviously. Juventus now sitting 13th and Monza sitting 11th. Juventus need to win all their games in hopes of still getting Europe. Didn't happen on this one, and I feel like it might just be like this after that lack of confidence just absolutely strikes them. Get a goal to slow to Monza in the 11th minute. Doesn't keep them at bay. Patrick Curia getting a goal in the 18th, and then Dani Mota in the 39th. Which again, Monza played better. 55% possession. I do know that Juventus counter-attacking team sitting back. 45th possession. 22 shots from Juventus. 8 on target. Obviously, keeper is definitely called upon. Di Gregorio definitely called upon. Monza only had 3 shots, 3 on target. Still converted the 2 goals. More efficient. And it just ended up being like that. Monza above Juventus in the mid-table. Mid-table clash, and it just happened like that. The other exciting game, obviously being Napoli and Roma, in which we saw Napoli win 2-1 against Roma. Very good game to watch. Obviously, Napoli in hot form. Roma are a very good team under Jose Mourinho. And Paulo Dybala was coming off a very, very good streak of games. In this game, he just did not show that. Victor Osimhen getting his goal in the 70th minute, assisted by Kvaratskhelia. And Shaarawy getting the other goal in the 75th, assisted by Salowski. However, in the 86th, we just see Giovanni Simeone score his goal, assisted by Zielinski, which just ended the game, and Napoli just ended up getting that win. But yeah, this was a good game, good intense game to watch, and it just gave Napoli again more points to rely upon. 53 points now for Napoli, 20 played. It's just crazy, the crazy run that they're having. Obviously, Roma and Napoli having the same shots, but Napoli doubling their shots on target, 6-3. And Roma just falter into 6th after the loss. Which again is not too bad, but obviously Roma should be wanting to get into that Champions League spot again. But it didn't happen on this one. Ajax winning 4-1 against Excelsior. Tadic scoring a goal. David Klaassen scoring a goal. But getting the lead back from Excelsior as they did score in the 36th. Kudu scoring the goal in the 61st, and then Davin Rensch scoring the goal in the 83rd, which just resulted in Ajax getting all 3 of those points in the Dutch league. And yeah, that was all for that. We move into Reims PSG, which again, Reims winning, PSG dropping points. We did see that PSG were playing their big players, Mbappe, Neymar, Messi, Ramos, Marquinhos, Hakimi, but ultimately just falter off. Neymar getting a goal in the 51st minute, assisted by Juan Bernat. Verratti coming in the 45th, but then getting a red card in the 50th. In the 59th, a lot of substitutions after that, and then Folarin Balogun scoring the goal for Reims in the 96th minute, which is ultimately given that point. Again, PSG should not be this poor, in which they were actually kind of outclassed when it comes to like the shots and whatnot. PSG had more possession, shots on target. That is where Reims had more. Reims obviously sitting in 11th, PSG in 1st, but shots on target pretty much the same. However, PSG just didn't make them count, and they are lucky that Reims didn't make theirs count, aside from the one that they did score to level it. We then see Borussia Dortmund winning against Bayern Leverkusen 2-1, which again, both coming off of wins, both exciting, both teams needed the points. In this case, Borussia Dortmund is the one that gets them. Leverkusen dropping into ninth after this with 24 points, and Dortmund going into fourth with 34 points. And yeah, Dortmund only having 2 shots on target, and both of those shots going in which we saw Karim Adeyemi scoring a goal in the 33rd minute, assisted by Julian Brandt, and Edmond Tazoba scoring in the 53rd minute, an own goal, which is already crazy to begin with, but yeah, that's what happened in that match. And then we see Brighton against Liverpool, which again, Brighton get the win and get the bragging rights and get everything and deserve everything. I'm not here to talk about poorly as Liverpool, but just to praise Brighton. Dropping Caicedo for what had happened with Arsenal obviously is not easy. Not easy to drop that type of caliber of a player. They did, however, and they still got away with the win. Obviously a scare in the 30th minute. Harvey Elliott scored a goal assisted by Mohamed Salah, but then 39th minute Lewis Dunk gets a goal assisted by Tariq Lamptey, which again, Dunk known for the headers. He's big, he's tall, he's athletic, he's physical, and just ended up getting the goal at the end. A lot of substitutions and yellow cards being brought in. However, in the 92nd minute, Karo Mitoma scoring an amazing wonder goal in which he just flicks one defender, puts Joe Gomez on his back, and absolutely smashes that ball into that net and gets a very deserved win for Brighton. Brighton are not praised enough, and I'm not only talking about like cup games or this or that. They're a very well organized team with a very organized system and a very good coach. And it's just amazing to see them thrive, see them play like that. And yeah, they just get that win, an important win like that. We then saw Feyenoord against Twente and they're 1-1. Volendam getting the win against Groningen 3-2, and then Fortuna getting the win against Camber 2-1. Just ended like that. And then we saw in the Liga MX Toluca against Leon, which ended 0-0, and then Pachuca getting the win against Necaxa 2-1. And then we see Lazio Fiorentina, which ended 1-1 in Serie A, which obviously we know Lazio was sitting third, but dropping points, and it just happens sometimes. Bundesliga, we see Schalke against Köln 0-0. Again, still match just happened. And then in the FA Cup is where we see some of the magic, in which we saw Stoke City against Stevenage, which Stoke City won 3-1. And then the absolute game that everybody's freaking out or loves being Wrexham against Sheffield United, which Wrexham were able to tie 3-3 against a League One team. And it's just good to see. You like to see some of those stories. Obviously, we know Ryan Reynolds is the owner of that club, and it's just amazing to see and how much he connected with the actual fans. Nice being 1-0 against Lille, Clermont and Nantes tying 0-0, Toulouse and Strasbourg tying 2-1, and then Brest against Angers, where Brest won 4-0. Auxerre against Montpellier, which Montpellier won 2-0, and Olympique Lyon winning 2-0 against Ajaccio. I'm pretty sure that was it for all the matches on Sunday. And then we just moved to some of the little matches that they had today, which some of them are still even going. Okay. But we're just going to see what we can talk about, as it is 4:41 on a Monday. But we just move. Rayo Vallecano currently winning 1-0 against Villarreal, in which they score in the 70th minute. Sergio Camello. If scores changes, I will try to update it or keep it in the comments. But that is how much the match is going right now. Villarreal losing it, in which if this is how it ends, Rayo Vallecano are going to move into 7th, and Villarreal are going to remain 5th, but they're going to close in the gap to 3 points instead of 2. And then we see Serie A again. Serie A game being played right now. Udinese against Hellas Verona, 94 plus already being, in which Hellas Verona scored Hellas Verona scoring an own goal, in the. Oh wait, no. Unides is scoring that own goal, in which Barcelona capitalized and go up 1-0, and then Unides is scoring the goal in the 21st, which, yeah, I guess it just happens like that. We'll see how that match ends as well. And then the match that did already end was an FA Cup match in which we saw West Ham winning against Derby 2-0. Obviously, we're in Rumi's team. And we saw Jared Bowen score in the 3rd minute, 10th minute, assisted by Tomas Lucic, and Mikel Antonio score in the 50th minute, which we just see West Ham go through even further, and we'll just see how they do. But so far, so good for them. I know I've been rambling on for a while, but again, it just happens, and I just like to talk about it, and hopefully you enjoyed it. More videos hopefully coming soon, but as far as this goes, this was the video for today. But I appreciate it if you stuck through the end of the video. Comment anything if you like. Please share this to anybody that might be interested in just watching soccer. Again, socials at JV2Chat. I appreciate everybody who's watched it, who's just supporting the small channel that we can hopefully grow one day. But then again, we will see when that happens. Thank you, and I appreciate everything and everyone. See ya.